Hi everyone, welcome to Eve Math Tutoring. Today's lesson is on adding and subtracting algebraic fractions. So if you want to add something like the following, so the question could say add x over 2y minus 5 over x. So just like adding and subtracting regular fractions, what you have to do is find a common denominator. Okay, so you have to have a common denominator for your fractions before you can add or subtract. So that's your lowest common denominator, I guess we could call it. So we're going to look for the lowest common denominator. So in this case, the lowest common denominator, something that would divide both 2y and x, would just be 2yx. So you just combine the two, okay? So that would be our lowest common denominator. So what we're going to do then is make the bottom here equal to that. So I can actually change color here. So this, we're going to multiply the bottom by y, but whatever we do to the bottom of a fraction, we have to do the same thing to the top. And then over here, we're going to multiply this one by 2y, but whatever we do to the bottom here, we have to do the same thing to the top. Okay? So once you do that, you can go ahead and multiply. So you're going to get x squared over 2yx minus 10y over 2yx. So at that point, because you have the same denominator, you can go ahead and subtract what's on the top. Okay? And collect them under the same denominator. And then you want to see if you can factor anything out from the top and the bottom, but in this case, there's nothing that you can factor out. So this would be your final answer. And you would probably mention that y and x do not equal to 0. Because if they did, then the fraction would not exist. Okay, so that would be your final answer. So that's how you would subtract. So that's a subtracting example. Let's try some other examples. Oops. Okay, so another example could be, so add, this one will be add. Sorry, just for the previous one, where did it go? Okay, so just see if, okay. So this one would be add, so you would have x plus 2. So the previous example should have said subtract, so I'm not sure if I wrote add or subtract, but it should have said subtract because we were subtracting. Okay, so x plus 2, x minus 3 plus 2x plus 1 over 3x minus 2. So say we were adding this one. So what would our lowest common denominator be for this example? Well, it would be x minus 3 times 3x minus 2. Again, we're just multiplying. Okay, so what I want to do then is multiply this one by 3x minus 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. The reason I'm doing that is so that I can have this on the denominator, the lowest common denominator. This one I'm going to multiply by x minus 3. Whatever I do to the top, bottom, I do the same thing to the top. So then when we do that, we get x plus 2 times 3x minus 2. The denominators become the same. They become x minus 3 times 3x minus 2. And then plus 2x plus 1 times x minus 3. So I don't see anything that we could actually cancel out. So we can't factor anything out from the top or the bottom. So at that point, you could simplify it further. So we got our common denominators, then we added the tops and the bottoms over here. And then now what you're going to do is just simplify. So you could use FOIL to do that. So that becomes 3x squared minus 2x plus 6x minus 4, the first bracket. And this one becomes, you just FOIL it, 2x squared minus 6x plus x minus 3 all over, so you FOIL that. That becomes 3x squared minus 2x minus 9x plus 6 Negative 3 times negative 2. Okay, so at this point, we're going to start adding and subtracting lowest common denominators. So if we add these, we're going to start adding like terms. Alright, so let's just take it to the next page. So I'm going to add a new layer. Oh, here's layer 1. Layer 3. So for this one, when we simplify the top and the bottom, we get 3x squared plus 4x minus 4 plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. And then the denominator becomes 3x squared minus 11x plus 6. So we just added like terms, the x's. And then on the top, again, you're going to add whatever else you have. So you have 3x in this. That becomes 5x squared when you add these two. And then you're going to add those two, so that's going to become minus x, and then the numbers are like terms, so that would become minus 7. And this here would be 3x squared minus 11x plus 6. We can't add anything there. So that would be your final answer for that question. Okay? So that's an adding example. So this is part 1. I'm going to do another part 2 episode to this one where I'm going to do more examples.